Hello friends, welcome to ASP.NET tutorial. In this sub-series, we will learn about basic ASP.NET server control. And in this first video of this sub-series, we will learn how to use ASP.NET label control. A label is a read-only control which displays information to the user. In label control, application can change the content dynamically and display it. So here we are talking about change. The change can be done by the application. The label is read-only control in user perspective, so user cannot interact with it and they cannot change the content. In the text property of the label control, we can assign plain text or HTML formatted text. So that's the property here. The property is text and you can assign content to this text property. So you can either use a plain or even HTML formatted text. That means you can form a string with a h2 tag. So this is permitted in text property, and at runtime when the content is displayed, whatever you place in between h2, so the x will be displayed in h2 tag at runtime. At runtime, ASP.NET renders text property content within span tag. Suppose here h2, closing tag h2, x, and you placed that as a text property. At runtime, what happens? You will have a span tag, and inside the span tag, you will be having a h2 tag and x slash h2, then closing a span tag. Right, and here you will be seeing a closing tag for the span. Alright, now let's go to the demo. Alright, now we are in Visual Studio. Let's create a new project and we will choose ASP.008 basic controls. And here, if you see, we are choosing a web template under Visual C++ and choosing ASP under Visual C# web, ASP.NET web application, and here we provided a name for our project. Click OK and choose a empty project and click OK here. So now we have empty project ready, and we will right click here and add new item. Choose web form and let's name our web form as basic controls 01 label or labels. So here if you see, the web form is added, and we will unpin this for now, and this is the HTML code. Let's go to the design view, bring up the toolbox, pin it, drag and drop a label control here. So if you go to source, you can see how it added a new label control. Right, in Visual Studio IDE, we just clicked this label, dragged and dropped it on the form in the design view. Once you switch back to source view, you can see what is the code added by the Visual Studio IDE. So this is the template code added by the IDE, and ASP colon label, that means it's a server side control. IDE is label 1, run at server. Let's switch back to design and click on this label. Go to properties and we will name this as LBL time and set font as, let's go with the default font, and size here we will set X large, and you can see the label is bigger now. And if you go to source view, you can see font size is X large now. So new attribute is added and the ID got changed with whatever you are setting here in the property. So if you need, you can change this label, but what we will do at runtime, we will assign a text to the label at runtime. So when form is loading, that time we will change this text property. Now let's go back to Solution Explorer, and here you can see our form name bc01_labels.aspx. Expand this and you will see the code behind file. Double clicking that will open. So the code behind file is opened, and you can see there is a page load event already. So this event will get called whenever the page is loaded in the browser. So during the page load time, we are accessing the label control. If you see here, this is our first sample code. We named our control as LBL time, right? You can go ahead to the source view and you can see that LBL time, right? That's the font size and text is label. So based on the ID, we are accessing the control, and we already talked about this in our previous sub-series. And you can either see that here LBL time, right, ID, based on this ID, you can access the control. And if you see LBL time dot, it will display all the properties and methods associated to the server side control label. Right here we are accessing the text property equal to, then we are making use of datetime.now. So this is a C# related one. So system.datetime, right? From there now, and now is a property, and we are converting that as a string and assigning that to the text. So during the page load, the label will display the current time. So what we can do, we can rebuild the solution. This time we will pin it. So here you can see rebuild all is succeeded, and we will unpin this toolbox section. Either you can right click here, right, or choose view in browser Microsoft Edge, or you can click here, right, debug, start without debugging. So make sure the ASPX label is selected. The easiest way is this one, right click and choose view in browser Microsoft Edge. So this will run our web form, and it will call page load, and during the page load it displays the date as well as time. And when I refresh, it will call page load again, and we can see how the time is changing. 30, 32. That's all. Here we use the label control, and the user can just see this. In user perspective, it is read only, they cannot change it, but at runtime we can change the content. That's all about the label control. And if you want to add some other control, what you can do, you can type code in our source directly, right? If you say ASP colon right? Text box. ID equal to txt1. Text equal to sample text. So you can do this way also, but using the editor is a easy task, and if you see is missing attribute runnet, so that means here we can copy this and say run at server. That's all. Now we are not seeing any warning, and if I switch to design view, and you will see the text box. So either you can drag and drop it, or you can directly write code in the source view. So going forward, when we have more controls in the web form, instead of dragging and dropping each and every control in the web form, we will directly paste the downloaded code. You can always check video description. After that, we will discuss some of the important properties by going to the design view. And it's always your choice whether you want to paste the code or you will design the form yourself. So the choice is yours. But going forward, we will provide both this source template as a downloadable code, as well as any event trigger. If we handled that, we will provide the code also. Both code we will provide in text file, so that you can save time in typing, or you can download the code as a reference and use that code and start typing code yourself to make use of IntelliSense and get a good handy experience on using the Visual Studio Editor. Alright, that's all here in this video. Thank you for watching. Bye.